Hello, everybody. This is Philip Martin, and this is the second edition of the video on books. I don't know, what do you call this? Extra material, bonus feature, behind the scenes sort of material that you can either take or leave. Today I wrote about Martin Amos's Inside Story, which is a memoir wrapped inside uh, an autobiography wrapped inside an enigma, whatever. I don't know exactly why there seems to be little glitches in there. I mean, they're intentional glitches. I'm absolutely sure they're there for a reason. But why, in this book that's mostly factual, Amos moves around some dates and he switches names. Generally, he uses a middle name where the character, who's a real person, would be better known by a first name. And these little things to make the account slightly less reliable than it would otherwise be, less authoritarian, less less real, to try to transpose it into this sort of glitchy alternative reality. It's an interesting thing, and I don't know. Do I have any more Amos? Yes, I do. I have experience. I have a couple other things. A rub of time. I got rid of a lot of my Martin Amos back when we moved, but he's one of my favorite writers on a line-by-line basis. And I think that a good analogy would be Scott Fitzgerald, in that I'm not sure that he has that many ideas or even stories to tell, but he's a brilliant stylist, and this is a recounting of his life and his friendships with Christopher Hitchens and Saul Bellow primarily. It's an interesting read, but I think it's an interesting read for those of us who are into Martin Amos, and I think it assumes a bit of knowledge about the author and a bit of sort of familiarity with literary techniques that he employs. It's fascinating to me that such a specific product can, basically become a bestseller, and it sort of rewards your faith in him. So okay, that's what I wrote. Okay, and what I didn't write was I didn't write about the Don DeLillo book, which The Silence, which was another one I was considering writing about. And you have to understand that doing this column every 2 weeks, there's always a question of what you cover, and that's those choices are they're hard for me because I wanted to write about the DeLillo book. And the DeLillo book, The Silence, which you may have heard about, and it's a slim book in line with some of DeLillo's work. Some of the stuff he does, like The Body Artist, Cosmopolis, and a few others, have been sort of really kind of small works. There's an interesting anecdote about this book. And in the New York Times, DeLillo gave an interview, and he said that at one point there appeared in this book a sentence that was sort of very contemporary about COVID-19 and masks and all that. And he had it taken out because he didn't write it. Someone actually glitched into his book, and I don't know how you would presume to add something to a DeLillo novel. This, I don't know. I mean, the reviews have not been kind to it, and they haven't been kind to the Amos book either. They've been both kind of, the conventional wisdom is both of them are sort of a replaying of greatest hits, kind of fan service. This is a paranoid book about the day that things stop working. And it's very interesting, again, on a line-by-line basis. And I think that I'm glad I read it. I'm not sure I'll revisit it. And it's probably better as a souvenir of, even though it's not been, it was written pre-COVID, but it's sort of a COVID book because it's got the paranoia. It's got the the crashing down of society right here in this very slim novel. Do I recommend it? I don't know. I recommend it in the same way I recommend the Amos book. It's great if you're a Don DeLillo fan and you feel compelled to keep up with this subscription that you have to his work, because I think it adds something in context to our understanding of his techniques and what kind of writer he is and his overall message about the human condition. Hello, Paris. Paris is here. Come here, sweetie. We're going to say hello just to humanize this stuff, see? Or anthropomorphize this stuff. I do get visitors. Paris has come into the library. She's going to go get a book, and she's going to get out of here, right? Okay. Well, anyway, a book I am going to write about at some point, though it seems kind of the timing is bad, is John David Cash, who's an Arkansan. And I read in the pitch they sent me about this book, they mentioned that I had written about a previous book of John's, and I vaguely remember reading and writing about one of John's books, but I don't remember what the book was, and I couldn't find it. So I don't know. Anyway, I heartily recommend this book for fans of the St. Louis Cardinals Baseball Club. It's the sort of book that they ought to do for every franchise. It's another slim book. It's less than 200 pages with a lot of, there's a bibliography and there's and lots of notes and some statistics and stuff like that. But it's a concise, kind of really nice little history of the St. Louis Cardinals. I wanted to get that out there because it's a good Christmas book, and I doubt I'll get to it before Christmas. So this is something that it's McFarland, which is an academic press. A friend of mine has published a number of books. In fact, a couple of my friends have published books of McFarland. They're a very good press. They may be hard to find in your local bookstore, but you can find it Amazon. You probably can go to the McFarland website and find it there. But yeah, I'm going to write about this at some point, but I just wanted to bring it to people's attention today because it's the end of November and we're looking for Christmas gifts and stuff like that. The pandemic information gap, that's already out. All right, this is already out. It's from the good people at MIT Press, and it's scary. And it's talking about how this really is a different thing than we've seen before, and how the misinformation that was spread through cable news and through other places has really contributed to the mess we're in. So, I don't do a lot of public policy books, but if this would be my public policy book of the month if we had such a thing. So, leave that to you. A couple that I'm really looking forward to aren't coming out for a while, and I don't know whether I'll write about them or not, but they're being published. This one's in January, and I think this is a Simon & Schuster book, and it's called This Is the Voice by John Colapinto. I think I'm saying that right, who's a writer for the New Yorker who a few years ago did a story about the doctor who worked with Adele when she had the nodes on her vocal cords. As it turns out, Colapinto, actually injured his voice singing in Jan Winter's little hobby rock and roll band, and damaged his voice really badly, which leads him on this journey to really talk about all the facets of the human voice. It's a fascinating book. I'm only halfway through it, but just the chapter on baby talk is worth your attention and worth your time. It's coming out, like I said, I don't know whether or not I'll write about it in a longer review. Here it is. Look for it. It's coming. The other one that I probably won't get to, and it's a shame, and it's not coming out till February, but my wife Karen really likes The Echo Wife. by Sarah Gailey, who is a writer I know nothing about. This is the blurbs compare it to Black Mirror, and it's speculative, fiction, science fiction, fantasy, what have you. Very good. A friend of mine loaned me a book called, what was it called? Well, it was from 1960, and the book itself isn't that good, but the preface is by Kingsley Amis, Martin Amis's father, and basically the preface is this long essay about the differences between science fiction and fantasy, and it's really insightful. I mean, it's sort of like The Sound of Their Horn is the name of the book, and it's by someone called Sabar. It's just a one-name thing. I should have brought it up here with me, but I'm just going off the top of my head. It's a really fascinating essay about the difference between fantasy and science fiction, and why some people prefer one or the other. And there's a dichotomy between, the science fiction wants to make everything plausible or at least explainable in scientific terms. Fantasy doesn't care. Fantasy is rural. Science fiction, especially in its dystopian ideas, is urban. The things that kill you are the new things, are not the hobbits or the things that are hiding in plain sight in the fantastic world. So that's a really great little lesson, which is just a wonderful little find. I don't know if there's any collection of Kingsley Amis's nonfiction out there, but I'm going to go look for one. And thank you, Paris. Can you hear Paris? Paris is coughing. Comes up here and she coughs in my video because I have to do another video after this, so for the movie thing. So anyway, that's our on books on video, and we'll edit some of this out and some of it we won't. But anyway, we'll see you in a couple weeks. I don't know whether I have a video or not, but we'll have another book column, and we thank you. Goodbye now.